Good Monday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We're live in Charlottesville in Albemarle County in Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, on the I Love CVille Network. Judah Wickhauer is our director. He is our North Star, our digital compass, if you may, our broadcasting compass, I should say. Here's the cool part of this program. If you would like to share some perspective and have that perspective mentioned on air, all you have to do is put it in the comments section, and I will relay it to our guest, to Judah, to you, the viewer, the listener. Judah, why don't we go to the studio camera and welcome our friend Lee Elberson to the program. Lee, before I go anywhere, there's one gentleman who if he leaves a comment, I must read his comment.
Blake Hawthorne,
okay,
you got to. If Blake
right.
is watching the show,
Okay.
you got to. He's always got great questions.
Blake, if there's a Blake Hawthorne that is watching, I will read your comment. Darren
Pashota, that's my cousin, yes.
Okay, where's Darren Pashota watching?
Darren Pashota's probably in Scotts Valley right now. He's retired from the fire department. Spent 20.
Where's Scotts Valley?
It's just north of Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Surf City.
He says, happy days when Lee Elberson is on the program. This guy is very well liked. Cindy Elberson. Ooh, Cindy Elberson is watching. I love Cindy Elberson. Cindy, I sincerely mean that. I very much enjoy when your son is on the program and when you watch the show as well. All right, why don't we get straight to the nitty-gritty here. This is something that we touched on last time, but it's something that's gaining some momentum. Business owners that have business to customer interaction. We're talking a brewery, a winery, we're talking a restaurant, we're talking retail, a salon.
Tutoring center.
A tutoring center.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the CEO of a tutoring center. Are you the police of the mask now that vaccinations have become or are becoming ubiquitous and readily available? I think now it's 16 and older can get vaccinated, and we're hoping children in the fall before school starts. So here's the question. If a customer comes in to a business now that vaccines are everywhere, does that business owner, is societal expectation, that business owner is the police of mask enforcement? Mask enforcement.
I mean, we had this similar conversation when we first started enforcing the masks, and it was great to have a mask mandate when we had a public health crisis. But I thought back then, I'm just a business owner. I mean, do I have to go and enforce this amongst everyone? And now we're having something similar as the mask mandate is rolling back. Do I have to check to make sure everyone has a vaccine card? Do we have to put our vaccination cards on a little lanyard? Do we need a wristband, a vaccination wristband? I think that's probably what's going through a lot of business owners' minds, and I don't particularly want to be the bad guy, and I didn't start a business for the sake of enforcement of these. So, it's just an interesting position we're being put in, now that the vaccines are being offered to all adults. Those who choose not to get them, now what is my ownership of this policy, I guess? Because
it's an awkward position. And it's an awkward position because I want you guys to think about, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Before COVID, this is a pre-COVID hypothetical. Jerry, me.
Jerry Miller.
My wife, Lauren. Our wonderful son, Lee, his beautiful wife, Alex. We go on a double date. We bring our 3-year-old. Okay, so we can't stay out too late. And we're out at a local restaurant. Now, neither you nor I, nor our better halves are ones to have a tough experience or a bad experience at a restaurant and then immediately bust out our phones and rip said restaurant on Yelp or Facebook or social media. We do not do that. We're very willing to give the benefit of the doubt to small and medium-sized business owners because we are ones ourselves. However, there is a huge portion of the consuming population where if things don't go 100% according to their dining or their spending money plans,
Cancel culture.
The cancel culture. The cancel culture will use this if something immediately goes bad for them in any kind of consumer setting. Is this mask enforcement, this mask policing, ammunition for the cancel culture?
I mean, in my experience, I don't think cancel culture needs much ammunition. But yeah, I mean, it certainly could be, and this is why there's certainly some hesitation in reopening. We are very anxious at Clayborne to reopen our doors to everyone, but in going through the logistics and the process of mask enforcement and vaccination, you do have to consider all of that. You know, certainly internally, if a client says, "Oh, we only want to work with a tutor who is vaccinated," you know, you have to listen to what your clients want. And then what if they say, "I don't want to sit next to somebody who is not vaccinated"? Then I think, gosh, no, you really do need those sort of vaccination. Like then
that's the vaccine passport.
Then that's the vaccine passport. Then the best policy for me is to say that everyone has to wear a mask. Right? Like, wouldn't that be the next natural step? It's like, look, I don't
You want the federal government or Virginia's governor's office to say everyone in Virginia, governor's office, has to wear the mask? Or do you want Biden to say everybody in America has to wear the mask? You want a clear standard? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think we should take our guidance from the CDC. The CDC is saying it's safe to do so. It just is now putting small businesses in this awkward position where now we have to think through it. But I think that's okay for us to do it. I mean, you should be thinking about how your clients react. Maybe you have a business that your clients don't care. But if your clients do care, then you have to be receptive to that. So I think it's okay to put it on the business's shoulders, just trying to let everyone know that it's not an easy thing to say, like, why don't you guys just do this?
Why? Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show. Neil Williamson, welcome to the broadcast. Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. Before the show, Lee and I were bantering back and forth, Mr. Williamson, about your 2020 revenue report from a tax finding standpoint. Free Enterprise Forum for that. Here's what I'm going to throw to you, Lee Elberson. Devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show. I do not think, devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show, strictly devil's advocate. The business owner should not be responsible for that. The guy who's trying to keep his lights on at the brewery or trying to keep his food costs in check at the restaurant, or the person that's trying to manage inventory at the retail outlet, or the folks that are running the salon or concerned about people coming in to pay the bills, asking them to also be the mask enforcer? I mean, I would think that now it's time for either the CDC, and the CDC is starting to flirt with this.
Definitely.
Where over the weekend, the CDC said you could straight up be inside with people that are vaccinated, no mask on, even if they're not in your family. Okay? I think it's time we now get some kind of clear guidance from either the Commonwealth or federal, at the White House, you know, at the federal level, that says, here's what the expectation is moving forward. Because that clear guideline, that black and white, is going to help us move forward and figure this out. What do you think?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think when you look to the state, the locality, the state, and the CDC, that's your guiding principle, right? You can say, look, we are just following CDC guidelines. So I think 100% we need that. And you know, we talked a little bit about this last time. Then it actually makes it a little bit easier to say, look, everyone has been offered a vaccine, and if you choose not to get it, that in some ways now you're in your own little bubble of taking health into your own hands, and that's certainly up to people to make that decision. But then as a business owner, I can say, everyone has been offered a vaccine, and the CDC is stating that if you have a vaccine, then you don't have to wear a mask. You know, what if people can't get the vaccine for various health reasons? Then, you know, it's sort of a, you know, there's sort of a special case that you'd have to make there. But I think you're absolutely right that we need the state the CDC and then the state to come down on it. From the state standpoint, though, you know, they're seeing numbers rise, and they're in this awkward position of thinking, you know, everyone's got a lot of confidence. I've been going out a lot more. You know, I'm sure you and I have been talking about, let's go out to 3 Notch. So we're getting excited to go back out more. And maybe even people who are only half vaxxed or not vaxxed are also feeling that excitement. And so we're seeing the numbers rise. So I think it'll probably be a few weeks before we see Northam say something.
What is the kosher, the preferred, the socially accepted mindset here? Take someone has the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine.
Like you.
Is that individual doing enough for mankind, for Central Virginia, for Charlottesville, for Albemarle County, saying, I got the Johnson & Johnson, I will read the letter, I will read the sign that's on the door at whatever business I walk in. If they want me to wear a mask, I'll put my mask on. I will walk in, you said 3-notch, I will walk into 3-notch, I'll sit at the stool, I'll take my mask off as I'm allowed to, and drink my Minute Man. Is that enough?
I mean, I think so. You know, what else is there? You know,
what a lot of folks talk, devil's advocate,
yeah.
talk show, say, a lot of folks say it's, too early to eat inside, too early to patronize a business outside of, say, curbside and to go, and the prioritization of quarantining or stay at home or minimizing social interaction, the pod mentality, still should be very prevalent.
Yeah, I think, again, we talked about this very early on. It's an economic question, really. Like, businesses have been hurting. Most businesses in our community, and I would say abroad, have been struggling pretty severely in the last year. And the PPP funding has done a great job to get us through. Unless there's going to be a PPP round 3, it's go time for businesses. So they need to try to get as many customers as they can. And so if the CDC is telling them it's safe if you're vaccinated, and this is what you need to do, then businesses need to do what they need to do to survive, I think. And that's what we've talked about. This some states, some of the southern states, made that decision early on. They're like, we're going to just kind of let the businesses. I mean, they need to fend for themselves and bring in their business, and we're going to do everything we can. And some states, took it a different track and made sure that public health safety was number one. But it was a balancing act, right? Like, you could be 100% safe, and you could be 100% letting businesses go for themselves, but you can't have both of them. And so I think now we're starting to see that shift.
Do you think we're going to wear the vaccine forever in Charlottesville?
Yes.
You think we're going to wear the mask forever?
Oh, the mask. Oh, I thought you meant we're going to have to get.
You think we're going to wear
COVID
a mask
boosters
forever in Charlottesville?
No.
I misspoke.
Yeah. No. Well, we live in a probability space. I think it's a probably 80% chance that at some point people will not be carrying masks around with them in the next 3 years. I'm a physicist. This is how I think about things, Jerry. Okay, things don't fall black and white for me.
I love that answer. That answer was so good. What do you guys think, viewers and listeners? And hold on,
booster shots.
Blake Hawthorne is watching.
Oh, okay.
Blake Hawthorne has a comment.
Blake's always got good comments.
Where's Blake watching?
Blake is near Sacramento, California. So he's in Northern California.
Blake Hawthorne, I'm reading the comment. Business owners can push a mask enforcement as no different than no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. It's not infringement on civil liberty. There are variants that are going to come, and we're just having to sacrifice a little comfort by wearing a mask in situations until we do find a way through this. Great comment, Blake Hawthorne. Not only did I read that comment on air, I just gave you the like, and I'm going to also respond on Facebook by saying, great comment. Great comment.
You did your due diligence. Thanks.
I did. The no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service is something we've been talking about quite a bit here on this network. This is the question I have, though. Is the no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service putting unrealistic pressures, unreasonable pressures on the business owner? Should the no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service edict be coming from a higher power? Is something we're talking about here. I personally think, I'm going to throw this out here, I personally think that the mask is something that some of us will choose to wear. The mask will be something, depending on the season, that will have more momentum behind it. Flu season, I bet you we start seeing more masks. When it's 100 degrees in Charlottesville and the humidity is even worse, I bet you we're going to see a hell of a lot less mask around town because you're covering your face and making it difficult to breathe in the dog days of Virginia's summer. So I think the mask is going to become almost a fashion meets function meets survival.
Good comment about the fashion piece.
Fashion meets function meets survival, depending on the season.
Yeah. I know I've got about 24 decorative masks. Some of them I never even use.
But you're always in the black Under Armour mask. Are you not?
Am I what?
You're not always in the black Under Armour mask? That you have?
Well, that one I wear out a lot. That one's very comfortable. I can't say enough good things about the Under Armour mask. But I have a lot of other decorative masks made by my friend Jessica Ure during the pandemic. A lot of great masks she made, and so. But I think the civil liberties question is very interesting. I think the U.S. has reacted much differently than other countries in terms of. I mean, the mask mandate was a great example of how we view civil liberties versus other countries. I think other countries understand that when you're facing a public health crisis, it's okay to go to some of these draconian measures. It's like, you are in full lockdown because people are dying and you just can't do anything until we get this under control. And so places like Vietnam and even England, to some extent, understand these draconian measures. Our country wasn't founded on those same principles, and we fight back when we feel like our civil liberties are being encroached on. Personally, I think I'm okay with that balance, and I give up civil liberties when I think that there's even a scare of a public health crisis, but not everyone believes that, and that's part of what makes this country great.
Well, here's this. It was explained to me this way. So I'm very libertarian in my mindset, and I say that often on this program.
You're fiscally conservative, right? I'm
fiscally conservative and socially liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that describes me in a sense. Undoubtedly describes me in a sense. My ideology in a sense. Initially, I was like, this mask, and this was early COVID, the mask, requiring masks. Initially, the libertarian me was like, the government is telling me to do something. And it raised the hairs on the back of my neck. Like when my German Shepherd Leo sees a bushy kitty cat on the other side of the fence hunting squirrels. Okay, his scruff gets raised on the back of his neck. And then another libertarian said this, Jerry, you're a libertarian, a champion for small and medium-sized business. In the end, you just want less government interaction. I said, that's right, that's what I want. Then the mask actually provides that. If we wear the mask, the small and medium-sized business can get back to doing work and get back to the 9 to 5 grind, 9 to 10 grind, whatever the hell it is. And we, as people, can flatten the curve and get back out into society and have less government telling us what to do. And when it was explained to me that way by a fellow libertarian, I was like, you know what? That makes perfect sense to me. That makes sense to me. But I don't think moving forward we're a culture or we're a population that will continue to wear them long term, permanently or consistently. Prove me wrong. Convince me I'm wrong.
I can't, and I think the hesitancy in wearing a mask is now transitioning to hesitancy in getting the vaccine. And in my mind, I think that the concept of them telling us, hey, you're going to have to get a COVID booster shot, it's like, I already got a shot. I'm going to have to get a shot every 6 months. I don't want to do that. Me, personally, I've never gotten a flu shot.
Ever?
Never gotten a flu shot.
You personally?
Never gotten a flu shot.
Wow. Have you ever gotten the flu?
I think once I definitely got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you of the mentality, power of the brain when it comes to sickness and getting sick?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, me too.
And I think I expressed hesitancy on the vaccine when it first came out and said, gosh, I don't know about the long-term side effects. I think the idea of Bill Gates implanting us with microchips is completely insane, but the vaccine hesitancy to me again, it's for the public good. And I think the booster shots now are going to happen because not enough of us are getting the vaccine. If everybody got the vaccine, the virus wouldn't have that ability to be able to incubate and mutate, and you wouldn't have these variants running rampant. And so, are we going to end up in a society where there is a vaccinated population and an unvaccinated population? And will it change our migratory patterns? Will we start to move to places where there's a higher rate of vaccination? Right? Like, is that?
I want to go down these roads. This is why I like talking with you. This is why I love this guy.
That's what I've been thinking of. It's like, what's
this
the future?
This guy is genius, but he's got a touch of paranoia. He's got a touch of paranoia to his genius. He does. And
I blame it on watching X-Files as a kid.
And he would admit this. He's got a touch of paranoia with his deviation. All right. I want to unpack what you just said of changing migratory patterns.
Human migratory patterns, where we decide to move, right? Is now like the vaccination rate, is that going to change? Like, do I want to move to this city or this city? Do I want to move to this town or this town? Do I want to move to this community or this community?
Okay, here's a good example. Southwestern Virginia is notorious for not getting vaccinated. Southwestern Virginia, notorious for not getting vaccinated. Southwestern Virginia is also a very depressed aspect of the Commonwealth. So using Lee's logic, is this anti-vaxxer movement or mentality going to further depress Southwestern Virginia from a culture, capitalism, and from an evolution standpoint?
The evolution piece, that might take several
generations,
or several hundred or several thousand years. But yeah, I think from an economic standpoint, almost certainly. Is it possible we could even measure it through median house income, or we could measure it through median house price, right? Like, how is that going to change in the next, let's say, 10 years?
So you think there's a correlation? You think there could be a correlation with median home value and also average household income with vaccinations?
Long term, and I would say it's more tied probably to what it does to the economy. I would wonder if those two populations have different spending habits. And those spending habits are going to change that local economy, and that local economy is going to either flourish or depress and change the medium house.
Okay, so you've obviously given this some thought. I'm
actually spitballing a little bit of this right now.
You're spitballing on the fly?
On the fly, yes.
Okay, so what would the is that denotation? No, that would be connotations. What would be the connotations associated with a vaccinated household?
Yeah,
the demographics. You've already made a correlation to, in some ways, wealth. You've made a correlation with vaccination and wealth. You've made a correlation with vaccination. You've alluded to a correlation with vaccination and home ownership.
I think those maybe are corollaries to. I think that let's focus on the consumer spending piece first.
Okay.
Let's think about, do we expect those people to have different spending habits? I think in a population where I don't know whether somebody is vaccinated or not, and that's something that maybe I have to worry about, maybe I'm probably less likely to want to go out if I don't have confidence that I'm in an entirely vaccinated population.
But the anti-vaxxers I know are the ones that have had the least amount of fear of COVID.
Yeah.
The anti-vaxxers have been out spending money from the beginning.
Yeah. I'm not saying which one it is. I'm just saying that they're different. Now we're establishing which one we think might be spending more.
Who do you think is going to have more discretionary spending power? Or who will have more discretionary spending power? The anti-vaxxer family or the vaxxer family?
This is a demographics question.
This is a hunch and instinct question, which you're good at. I trust your hunch and instincts more than 9 out of 10 people's hunch and instincts.
I would probably argue that there is less discretionary spending in an anti-vaxxer household. Not that they wouldn't, like...
I would argue the same.
Yeah.
I would argue the same. Do you want to unpack why?
Probably not.
Why? Because you feel like that's a slippery slope?
Yeah, I'm willing to unpack it because I think I can manage the commentary the right way. You want me to start? Let's do it. Let's unpack it. So
okay.
Let's first talk about. Let's zoom back and think about like what is happening now. So we're stating that anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers are likely already like they're
nothing has changed for them.
Nothing has changed, right?
Less has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of it. If you're less hesitant, you're like, this is not a big deal. I'm going to go out and I'm going to live my life. I definitely wanted to do that, but I didn't. And so, yeah, they are out in they're out in the economy spending more, and the people who are more hesitant are spending less money in the local economy, potentially. Maybe they're ordering takeout, but probably more so like ordering food from Whole Foods, making their own dinner, and ordering stuff from Amazon. So by that definition, then the hesitant people are doing less for the economy. That means people like me. And that's probably true over the last year. I haven't done enough to support my local economy.
Okay, I'm with you.
So as things move forward, how do I get over that? Do I look for a place where I can feel more confident? Or at some point, will I just feel confident and just say, oh, you didn't get a vaccine? Okay.
Well, the Lee Elberson I know, how he gets over that is by becoming fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
And the confidence that comes from medicine is going to overcome the fear you have of getting COVID.
Definitely, and I've already started to do that. I'm only half vaxxed, and I'm already starting to engage more in local businesses. So yeah, I think that's definitely true. And if I still have any hesitancy, I can still wear a mask, right? I can vax and wear a mask, like you said. That is always my option. So I will get out and start to spend more. So maybe in the long run, then. Maybe we come together and then it doesn't make a difference. However, is there going to be some animosity that brews because the anti-vaxxers are not helping the majority of us get to this herd immunity, and these variants are going to continue to run rampant, and we're going to have to keep getting booster shots? And I think
there's going to be that mentality.
Yeah.
Where people are pissed off and saying, because that mentality existed in the beginning of COVID when people were not wearing masks, and the people that had masks on said to the people who were not wearing masks, F you, what are you doing? You're screwing us all.
Yeah.
So I think that mentality is if folks have not been vaccinated, those that have gotten the needle are going to say to the non-needle folks, what are you doing? F you, you're screwing us all.
Have you gone outside and not worn a mask before? Have you gotten the evil eye yet? I was 8 to 10 feet away from somebody the other day, and I had my mask in my pocket, and I didn't put it on, and they had their mask on, and I could tell just by the eyes. I was like, I'm getting the evil eye right now because I don't have my mask on outside. And I was like, but the CDC tells me if I'm over 6 feet apart outside that I don't have to wear it. Plus, this person doesn't know if I'm vaccinated.
Vanessa Parkhill just asked phenomenal questions. 2 fantastic questions. I'm going to get to these in a second here. Dude, what is the protocol? Like, I'm walking on the downtown mall, and for those that are, we have 9 different states watching the show here. Of the 9 states that are watching the show that are not in Central Virginia, we have this 8-block pedestrian area. It's a carless 8 blocks. We call it the pedestrian downtown mall. And you're able to walk on these 8 blocks amongst restaurants and retail outlets and music venues and, of course, consumers and patrons. What is the protocol of walking on the downtown mall? You are outside. Do I need to wear my mask while walking on the downtown mall? Because I get evil eyes, I often do not. When I go into the post office to check my P.O. box, or I go into the bank, or I go into Bagby's for a cookie for my wife, or wherever it may be, I put the mask on. But if I'm walking from outside the studio on the pedestrian downtown mall that's outside, I do not have the mask on, and I do get the evil eyes.
Is it a courtesy to wear it?
Is that what it is?
It's probably not going to be forever. I mean, it is a courtesy. Or, I mean, like, do you have to say, I'm vaccinated, right, to make people feel more comfortable? Think about how much explaining we do now. When somebody tells you that they went outside, Do they just say they went outside, or they say, oh, I'm fully vaccinated and my mom's fully vaccinated and we did this and we socially distanced? Think about the prerequisite to explaining to somebody that you just went out and did something normal, right? That's what's going through our mindset right now. And the same thing with when you're on the downtown mall. You probably, if you don't want to get the evil eye, you have to wear a mask as a courtesy or tell people you got vaccinated. But that sucks. You're changing your behavior. And sometimes
Devil's advocate. CDC said we can be inside without people we know, people we do not know, and maskless. You're saying courtesy, human behavior, outside, I got to wear it.
Probably for the next several weeks, but then, then if you see somebody outside, do you think, okay, they're not wearing their mask? Either they've been vaccinated and they know they're not supposed to wear a mask, or they're an anti-vaxxer and they're not going to wear a mask anymore.
Or do you see them outside? They're wearing a mask. They must not have been vaccinated because they're wearing a mask.
Or they have been vaccinated and they're very, very hesitant, and they also want to wear a mask.
And all these questions are a byproduct of what?
I think fear of the public health crisis.
And they're a byproduct of not clear guidelines from Virginia or federally, from a management standpoint of this pandemic. Vanessa Parkhill has this. Do you think you would make different assumptions if you had spent the last year living in Florida or the last year living in New York City, or I'll take it a step further,
Louisiana
or California?
I visited my mom in Louisiana in February.
And you said that was like the Wild West, right?
It was the Wild. I mean, it was the
Wild West, right?
They had already revoked the mask policy by then, and they have a surplus of vaccines down there. They have plenty of people down there who just are not going to get the vaccine, and so I was the odd person out. When I was wearing a mask, I was also getting an evil eye. It's like, oh, you're one of those people. Right? So I think it's all just our internal perception, right? It's like the hesitant group. Either you're hesitant about the public health crisis, or you're hesitant about about how serious is this, right? About what the efficacy of wearing a mask or getting a vaccine. And so I got evil eyes down there when I was wearing a mask. It's like, wow, I'm the only person on the street wearing a mask right now. And I'm just going to continue to wear it and just get the evil eye. Did
you get the evil eye from Cindy?
No, my mom's fully vaccinated, and she totally supports wearing a mask. And she's also just the most compassionate person in the entire world. When she
Cindy
comes up
Elberson's
here,
watching the show. Cindy Elberson has a red carpet rollout anytime she's in Charlottesville.
Okay,
we will roll out the red carpet.
I'm going to hold you to that.
I swear. We will roll out the red carpet for Cindy Elberson. Kelly Jackson, star of Women Changing Our World.
That's great.
She says, I got the vaccination and I still wear a mask. The guidelines and data keep changing, so I don't know what's right. James Watson, very similar to Vanessa Parkhill's comment, James Watson said, I wonder what this conversation looks like between a couple of gentlemen our age in Florida or Georgia. Let's see here. Kelly says, I agree with you, Jerry. When people say they aren't getting the shot, I'm like, what's going on, dog? That's what she said right there. Vanessa says, I think your local norm has the potential to shape your feelings about what is necessary. That's a good comment.
Yeah, I think you're right. We do need these guidelines, but we do need to be flexible with our federal and state government in that they are still figuring this out, and this isn't something you make a snap decision on. So we need to be flexible in these transition periods. Now, in a 2 week or in a month, if we still don't have guidance, we don't want to have to figure it out on our own that long. So I think we need to allow some flexibility for them to put together the data and come up with the guidance. But
It's Stephanie Rhodes. It's hard to be confident when it clearly says this vaccine may prevent you from getting COVID-19. So it may or may not.
Yeah, it's not 100%.
We were just talking about that before the show.
Not 100% effective.
Give the hypothetical that you gave me.
Yeah, so let's say you're in a room, close quarters.
The Democratic candidate debate that we had here.
Yeah.
The city council candidate debate we had here. It was Kathy Galvin there, me in the center, so that's 2. In this chair, Carl Brown, Juan Diego Wade, Brian Pinkston, and Yaz Washington, they're 6. Judah Wickhowers, the director, they're 7. And then we had 3 TV reporters. So 10 people, and this is probably 800 and some square feet. Now, everyone had been vaccinated. I mean, we don't have the mark. We don't have our vax card, so you just have to take people at their word at that point.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of trust embedded in that. You know, I mean, I know people who have, or like me, who had and still have hesitancy on the long-term side effects, but like there's a lot of trust embodied in that. So if you're in a room with 10 people that you haven't established that trust with, and you've been vaccinated, do you still want to wear a mask? If you cough later, are you going to think, oh my gosh, am I going to be that 1 in a million that gets it, right? Even after I've been vaccinated? And so, yeah, I think that's going to probably be with us for several months. I think the caution fatigue and comfort level, I think we're going to get used to it in that, and I think we're going to have a lot better understanding by the end of the summer of like what the protocol should be and our comfort level with it.
I think this summer in Central Virginia, I'm talking end of May, June, July, and early September, that 4-month period is going to determine the long-term momentum consistency of wearing the mask in this area. And I think Vanessa Parkhill makes a really good point. She says, I think your local norm has the potential to shape your feelings about what is necessary. So for instance, Louisiana, where you were talking about, the local norm was no mask. Charlottesville, a little bit more liberal than, say, Louisiana. The local norm is double mask, 2 masks. So we'll see if that 2 mask mentality survives the dog days of summer. What is your prediction?
Don't think it'll survive.
I don't think it's going to survive.
No. It's going to be one of 2 things. Either there's people who haven't gotten the vaccine, don't believe in masks and aren't going to wear them, or people who've been vaccinated. It's like, look, that's somebody else's problem, right? I'm focusing on myself, my family. We've been vaccinated. We've done our public good. Like you said, we're trying to help get towards herd immunity. Great, we've done our part. Don't have to wear a mask anymore. And maybe I think more and more you will see people wear masks, whereas before, a lot of times you'd be in an airport and maybe you'd see somebody from another country. And it's like, I remember thinking that's really weird. Why are they wearing a mask? Now I'm like, oh, they're trying to protect me and them and keep this contained. And so I think you'll see that'll be a lot more common that people will be wearing masks.
Blake Hawthorne, reading Blake's comments. Science is an ever-changing field that allows for the inclusion of more data, which leads to ever-changing conclusions. Too many people have trust issues with that. The flip side of the following research data and hypothesis is blind, ignorant chance.
Yeah, I think a lot of vaccine hesitancy, and I think a lot of mask hesitancy and probably science hesitancy is that like, oh, you said one thing and now it's different. But science is just the observation of the world around us and trying to come up with theories that fit that, right? We say, hey, looks like if I drop something, it's going to fall and it's going to hit the ground. Pretty much without chance, that'll be the case. But if I say, if you put something outside, it'll probably boil if the sun gets hot enough. Probably meaning a lot of different factors, and I might have to modify that theory. This virus we really just got a handle on last year, and most scientific research takes years or decades to develop. And so I think me as a scientist, I understand that, like, I'm surprised we've made as much progress as we have. But somebody who's not familiar with the field of science says, oh, that can't possibly be true. Because, you said this theory and now that theory's wrong. Many theories are proven wrong. I mean, Stephen Hawking was a brilliant physicist and some of his theories were modified or proven wrong. And so I think just people being more flexible with the fact that they're meant to evolve. We come up with a theory, we test it, and then we modify it.
I love this guy. Why don't we close on this? 45 minutes in here. Kelly Jackson. She says, and I agree with this comment here. And then the second part is a question that I'm going to ask of you because I'm uncertain. She says the number of kids getting COVID is on the rise. Number of children. I also worry about this. I know my wife does, as a father of a 3-year-old. We're both very worried about this. Certainly my wife is. And when my wife worries about something, the entire household takes notice. Okay. She says, I think masks will be around until the children are vaccinated. And then she says, will public local schools require vaccinations for kids to be in person this fall? It's a question for you.
I think so.
Is the flu shot required?
No.
The flu shot is not. But is the chicken pox shot required?
Yeah, they have a series of vaccinations that you have to have.
You have to have chicken pox, like mumps,
MMR,
measles,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So this should just be included and woven into it, right?
Probably.
The COVID, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Given the fact we talked about this is different than the flu. You get the flu, you get over it. COVID can have long-term respiratory issues. I told you this. I have a client who got COVID last year, and she still can't run. She was a very active runner, ran every day, still cannot go and run because of the respiratory issues she faced while having COVID. So it has long-term side effects, and that's why it needs to be added to this and treated differently than the flu.
You are A+ people.
Hey, can I mention my podcast?
Oh, please.
Future of Education. Jerry
Please.
will link it in here. It
Please.
launched officially last week. Episode 2 dropped today. Had Juan Diego Wade, had Peter Gaines on it. And what I'm trying to do is get as many education stakeholders as possible. Trying to get one of the superintendents, getting the heads of schools. I'm getting some parents from under-resourced backgrounds, some parents from resource backgrounds, and just having the conversation of, what do we want our education system to look like in 20 years? And that way I can go to my good friends, Juan Diego Wade and Jerry Miller, who's going to be on the Board of Supervisors, and say, this is what actions we can take now to make our education system the way we want it.
I appreciate you saying that, and we will link to his podcast. Can we include in the actual package that we put on Spotify and on ilovecville.com and everywhere, the link to his package, his podcast? You can find it on the Clayborne Education, please, sir.
Yeah.
Clayborne Education Facebook page. Please search it.
Go to my Anchor page. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on all the podcast channels. You can find it. Future of Education, Charlottesville, because it's focused on our community.
If Juan Diego Wade is fortunate to get elected, and I think he will, and if I'm fortunate to get elected, and I hope I am, I would 100% immediately figure out a way to weave Lee Elberson into the mix with education in Albemarle County in the city of Charlottesville. I swear.
Oh, appreciate
Dude,
that.
no, like.
Got my endorsement.
Let's get a good, how about him smiling over there? And he said we have to use different touch-up makeup on the photo. Is that what you said?
I said if I ever have to stand in for you, I would need a lot of touch-up makeup to make the de-aging cream and stuff to make me look younger.
You are fabulous. We should figure out doing this again soon.
We'll do this again. Next time we're going to talk a lot about mental health crisis. It's not just kids, it's us too. And so we talked about this. Next time we'll tackle that. That's near and dear to my heart, and okay. I've got some tips on how adults and our kids can improve their mental health.
Okay. How's your mental health?
My mental health is good. I told you this. I've been spending a lot of time outside, been going camping with my wife. You got to see Jeep Vader outside.
He's got a dope Jeep, guys.
You see a black and red Jeep around town, wave to me. I'll be happy to wave back to you. But getting outside more, getting away from screens.
Can I mention, why don't you get, we'll get Keith Smith here in the mix here, J-Dubs. Can I mention the 90-day excursion or no?
Oh, yeah.
Can I?
Yes.
This will be the teaser for the next show.
Sure.
Okay. This gentleman is going to do a 3-month vacation with his beautiful better half in 2022. He's going to go on vacation for 3 months.
Camping, living out of our Jeep for 3 months, living in national forests. That's our goal next year.
That's going to be the topic for the next time he's on the show, of how he's going to be able to, a man who is a workaholic, a volunteer-holic, a volaholic, as Keith Smith, who's in the studio, calls himself a volaholic.
Yep.
This guy's going to take 90 days off the grid with his wife.
Yes.
In a Jeep, no technology, No showers?
We have a shower tent, actually.
Oh, you have a shower tent?
Yeah, we have a shower tent. We have a kitchen set up in
Where
the
do
back.
you go to the bathroom?
We have a bathroom tent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alex is amazing.
She's awesome.
She is amazing. Alex, we should get Alex Elberson on the show.
Dude, she would love that.
Does she watch the show?
She watches the show. She's
Yeah.
probably watching right now. She's always scared to comment. She's like, well, what if he calls him a comment? I'm like, that's the part.
That's the point.
That's part of the
That's
show,
what you're
right?
supposed to do. It's supposed to do that. Anytime, dude. Thank you for coming on. I sincerely mean this. I very much enjoy your company.
Thanks so much for having me, Jerry.
Yeah.
And next time you got to wear your Clayborne shirt.
I know.
Man. You'll
have
be
my
wearing his
shirt over
Clayborne
there.
shirt next time.
I will wear I promise you. I promise you I will wear it. I put the jacket on because we both had orange on.
Yeah.
I
Love
will
this
wear the
episode.
Clayborne next time.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Thanks, buddy.
Cindy says we love Alex. Louisiana loves Alex. She just put that in the feed. We got Keith Smith coming on the mix here in a matter of moments. Lee is fantastic people. Lauren and Keswick, welcome to the program. Amy Smith, hello and welcome to the broadcast. Noel Combs watching the broadcast. Linda Bowen, Michael Johnson, hello. Lee, Keith, once you get in the mix over here in the chair. Keith Smith of Real Talk. Vanessa Parkhill has this comment. There used to be some sort of exemption for requiring vaccinations in public schools, maybe religious. If that still exists, then I'm not sure how all kids have to be vaccinated. That's a good question. I will ask that next time to Lee, Vanessa. Keith Smith, good afternoon. How are you?
I got you flanked by two Marines here.
Hoorah!
Yeah, I see that. In fact, we can go the triple shot if you want, if we get Lee in here. And J-Dubs, you know what? I'm going to do this. If you go to the studio camera real quick. Watch this. I'm going to get us on the screen here. So, Keith Smith, how are you?
I'm doing great. I was sitting out there in the lobby listening to that awesome conversation, and I'm not really sure how much I can add to it. And what rank did you get out as?
What did what?
What rank did you get out?
Sergeant.
Okay, I got you by one. I was a staff.
Oh.
So what do you make about the mask moving forward?
So I put in the feed, unbeknownst to me that you guys were going to talk about this, on the way from my office to here. I made a mental note. It was like 50% of the people did not have masks on as I was walking over.
On the mall?
On the mall, and I thought to myself, And unbeknownst to me, that's what you guys were chatting about.
You wear it.
I do.
And you've gotten two.
I'm two. I'm fully vaccinated.
Walk me through the thinking.
You know, I think like Brother Lee was saying, well, he's a brother. As Brother Lee was saying, you know, it's maybe trying to help folks that are around us feel a little bit more comfortable. What we do for a living is a little bit different. We're around people that we don't know on a regular basis. So we wear them. I just got my band together bracelet so everybody knows that I'm vaccinated. And if I grab my wallet,
Oh, that's cool.
I carry my card with me. I've got a bunch of these.
Where do we get those?
Give me a call.
All right.
I'll hook you up.
Lee, hey, hold on one second. Is your better half? Hold on one second. How do you say Alex?
Alex Washura.
She's watching.
Okay, great.
She just commented right there. Alex has Lee's card.
Yes, my wife has my vaccination card. And, you know, anything important should go with the wife. You agree, right, Keith? You agree, right, Jerry?
Do you think it should be digital on the phone?
You know, it's interesting, and we didn't know this was the topic for today, but we went out to Three Notch on Sunday evening after some work, and you know, it was weird, and I'd forgotten that the governor said it's okay to sit at the bar, and I looked over to the right, and the bar was packed with people there. So you know, I don't know. It's just kind of this comfort level. But Lee, when you guys were chatting, I ran some quick numbers on the Virginia Department of Health site. So as of this morning, 5,911,691 doses have been administered.
In Virginia.
Keep in mind, we got 8.5 million folks. 3.6 have one. 2.5 have two. So what's going to happen in about 2 weeks, once those first shots start cycling through, you're going to be hitting somewhere around that 60% vaccinated. And Lee's a lot smarter than me on this stuff. But
Me too.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't like when we do this.
What's that?
He's very humble when it comes to his intelligence. He's very humble. I mean, if I had that kind of intelligence, I would not be humble about it. Neither would
Duh.
you. Neither would you. He's very humble with his intelligence.
Like, count to 2.
Yeah. And this guy's the opposite. He's very, what's the word? Depreciating? What's it called when you knock yourself a little bit, Judo? What's it called?
I'm not gonna. If there's gonna be any ganging up, I'm gonna be with my Marine there. Okay.
You can gang up on me anytime, brother. You can gang up on me.
Stephanie says, fellas, it should be smaller to fit in your wallet. The card.
Yeah, that's a great thing. You know,
Does it fit in yours?
It fits in my wallet.
You got is it the Costanza wallet you got over there? What wallet you got?
Good reference.
Seinfeld fan.
Good reference.
This is a huge Seinfeld. Where do you have it in your wallet? Is it in the dollar? Oh, you have it, so it doesn't fit in a pocket. You just keep it loose like that, huh? Yeah. Is that how it is always going to be? Yeah. I was wondering. I think I might do the same. Do you think it's going to come to the point where it's going to be like you're going to have to, because you travel.
I do.
You're going to have to do it for the airplane.
We travel actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
Traveled through COVID quite a bit.
You did?
Mm-hmm, sure.
Should there be a Bluetooth app that basically authenticates you as having your vaccine? That'd be the best way. You could forge that pretty easily.
Yeah, look, it was weird when I posted the picture when I got the first shot. Everybody was all over me about, well, people can copy that, and I just thought, how sad is that? How sad of
you posted on Facebook?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and how sad of a commentary on a world, on a country, that somebody's going to copy it. Come on, man,
fake vaccine cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not like getting your driver's
fake ID
to go out and drink.
That had value.
That had value.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see probably 2 weeks from now that number hitting somewhere around 60%. And again, Lee's a lot smarter than me. I don't know when herd immunity actually happens. Right? What percentage does that happen?
They say about 85%. Ideal.
They say
85% of total American population. And what's the total American population? Like 330 million? Mm-hmm. Is that right, roughly?
340, 350. Yona and I actually went through this drill and tried to figure out how many people actually were vaccinated in the country. But the state of Virginia, by the way, I think is, if Yona's watching, somewhere around the top 12 states that are getting vaccinated. So in other words, we're within the top 12 within the 50. He'll tell me how many states we have. 50-something states that we have. Right?
You're funny.
Yeah.
He's got good jokes.
The best.
No, it's true. I can't remember how many states we got. But, so it's, we're up there. So we should be proud, knock on fake IKEA, that, as a state, we're up there.
So 85% of 350 million, so the magic number would be like 297 million for 85%?
Yeah.
So they call the
close
magic
to 300.
number 300 million.
Yeah. Close
300 million people.
Yep.
And it's interesting, you were talking about the children end of it. Our youngest daughter's a teacher out in Seattle, and great union, and they're fighting because they're not letting the teachers come back unless the kids start getting vaccinated. So that they're taking that a little bit different out there in Seattle.
How about the question he posed, and I'm going to have him ask it to you, about vaccinations, vaxxers and anti-vaxxers, and migratory patterns, household income, and home values.
Yeah. Do you think in the long term, Keith, that the vaccination people who get vaccinated and people who decide not to get vaccinated, will it change where they want to live, and then in turn will it change the housing prices because maybe their consumer spending habits are different?
That's a great question. It's funny. My sister, I'm going to twist it around a little bit. My sister, Kelly, who lives up in New York still, sent me something that I've been trying to research over the weekend. And maybe this is a twist of that. It's called climate gentrification. I can't even say the word. I hate it so much. Climate gentrification. And I've been researching it, and it could be, people are starting to, migrate towards, hey, these group of folks are vaccinated, these groups of folks are not. I don't know if there's any anecdotal, I can't even say that word, evidence to prove that. Keep us straight here.
Anecdotal.
Thank you. Don't you hate a smart Marine?
He's a smart guy.
But anyway, so it's, I don't know, but this whole climate gentrification thing was really put me back on my heels and what it meant, and we could conceivably group vaccinations into that. But what is happening is in places like Sandy Hook, right, on Long Island or in New York when they had the Sandy come up, or in New Orleans. What's happening is they're going in here, and it takes two paths. So those are familiar with New York. They got the High Line. Have you got anybody familiar with that? But they took an old railroad track and they turned it into that. Well, what happened was they greenified it. They turned it into this beautiful area, and folks looking like the three of us moved in and pushed out all the local folks, all the folks of color, and now they're just pushing it out. And the other reverse of it that I've been learning on it is that what's happening is people are now moving into the hills a little bit, away from like Miami and so forth and so on. So it's really interesting. Maybe vaccines will get grouped into that. I don't really. I hope I did enough of a job not answering that question.
It's a tough question. I couldn't answer it either.
Yeah. What else are you thinking? Anything else?
Yeah, it's interesting. As far as the market is concerned, real estate market, we're starting to see some inventory sneak up a little bit.
That's good news.
But
the absorption rate is just still there. We go ahead and I check I got some notes here from you because you told me to prepare for the class. There you go. For the show. I don't know. He's intimidating me. He's so damn smart. I got to keep
way
this.
too much credit.
That's
why he likes coming on the show. He gets some props on the show over here. The inventory is upticking. Nationwide, we have a tremendous inventory shortage. And in Central Virginia, where this show originates, we most certainly do.
Yeah, so what we're fortunate to have in our Paragon and in our car system is we do these daily snapshots. So I just look at what's happening today. So what happened today, and this is this whole footprint, right? This is Charlottesville, Albemarle, Nelson, Greene, Louisa, to include the other side of the mountain, Waynesboro and Harrisonburg. Today, 6 homes came on the market. Half of them are new construction, by the way. The median, you want to take a stab, Lee, with the median list prices for those 6 homes that came on the market today?
First, you got to ask the municipality.
Yeah.
No, this has included
all of Central Virginia.
That whole region in that. And let's say
all single-family detached.
No, this is a combination between attached and detached.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. It starts with an E5, and you can pretty much take it from there. Sergeant E5. The number starts with a 5.
Oh my gosh! I was gonna say 415.
509.
Wow! I was so off.
509.
I thought it was highballing it too.
The cheapest one that came on the market today was 300,000.
And what are the specs of that 300K?
So that is new construction.
Okay. It's got to be attached.
It is attached. I apologize. It's detached.
Wow.
It's detached. I didn't pull the actual addresses on Park Street. I can't where it's at this point. But it's interesting. So the other thing is simultaneously what went pending. So it's interesting. 6 went pending. 17 went pending. 6 came on the market.
Okay.
So the absorption rate is like super lopsided.
Sure, that's not a good absorption rate.
That's not but it's interesting to see that, a couple of days ago, this would be like 1 or 2. So we're starting to creep up a little bit, but, the numbers are just way out there, man. Way out there.
Can I ask a question to Keith?
Sure.
So if I'm a consumer and I'm looking to purchase a house and I don't have to I could wait a year, I could wait 18 months. What's the calculus I should be going through in thinking about purchasing? And is it going to take interest rates to change for the inventory to increase? What's
so it's a two-sided question, right? So what you're asking me is what makes Jerry and Mr. and Mrs. Miller comfortable with putting their house on the market?
Yeah.
Because where am I going to go, right? That's the second part of the equation. So let's talk about the first part of the equation on it. Look, the reality of it is, this is really a good time to buy and sell, and it's interesting. I'm putting together a roundtable with appraisers for later in May, and I had a conversation yesterday with an appraiser on a thing, and he says, look, what you're seeing right now is anywhere between 0.25 and a half a point, so between a quarter point and a half a point increase in value month over month. So part of the second part of that question is well, if I buy now, am I buying at the top? Right? Is maybe what you're asking.
Yes.
So if I'm buying at the top, and the issue with that is we historically in this area, regardless of the market, have between 3 to 6% year-over-year increase. Regardless, even in the downturn, it was closer to 3%. We're hovering based on this appraiser's number somewhere around 6%. So if you're going to buy now because interest rates are low, you can afford a little bit more house on that end of it. Now's the time to buy. The question is trying
what
to
are you
find
going to buy?
what are you going to buy? Yeah.
Right. What do you think about that? What did you and Alex do? Can I ask you that question?
We're still waiting.
Yeah.
I think
for the right
it's
spot?
we're
Waiting
looking
to list or waiting to buy?
waiting to buy. Yeah, I mean it's really about like what are your requirements and how flexible are you with those requirements when the inventory is so sparse.
So it's interesting. What came active was 3 of them were new construction. So you're starting to see folks in that position. Again, this is a matter of what you can afford and where you're at in your life from a fiscal perspective. But what we're seeing a lot of people is okay, well, I'm going to go new construction. It's going to take me 6 or 9 months or more to get it built. I'm going to lock in my interest rate now because you can do that on these loans on that end of it, and then you're just going to let the build process happen on that. But only 3 of them are resales.
Do you think the mindset, and we're relatively the same age, do you think the mindset of home ownership has changed, say, with millennials and younger? Like, I remember getting drilled into my head with, my old man and my mom. And my dad's an entrepreneur. He's a business owner. Did it 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different businesses. And he used to drill into my head, buy a home, live there 7 or 8 years, get some equity.
I can't quote the stats, but year over year over year, millennials are the buyer profile. They are the ones buying it, and we can do this on some future show, the exact percentage of it, because NAR comes out in every April, what they call the generational report, what generations are buying.
But we're buying later. We're buying later than what, say, your generation, we're buying it, mid-20s, right?
I think he just called me old.
I did not call him old.
But he did it in a nice way.
I did it in a very nice way.
Well, it's funny because Yona and I were having this conversation over the weekend. How old were you when you had Trey?
Oh, man. Off the top of my head.
And you were in your 30s, right?
Mid-30s,
Right.
35. I haven't slept for 3 years. My wife has slept even less.
So my oldest daughter was in her 30s. My youngest daughter's probably not going to have in the 30s. How old were you when you had some children?
He has no children.
No children.
Yeah. But do you think the mentality has gotten later where renting has been more? It seems to be, right?
Definitely. I listen to my wife's mentality when we talk about buying, and she's like, well, think about the benefits that we have as a renter, and let's think about what is the true cost of ownership, and is it's the landlord's problem sort of mentality. I think a lot of millennials have that. It's like, oh, that's a landlord problem, right? I have other things I need to stress about, and I'm going to wait to find something that I want. So in my experience, as anecdotal as it is, I see that happening. That's why.
Lee, this is what we're going to do if you're okay with it. We're going to get you to come into a Real Talk show.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We're literally going to talk about this for an hour because I've got the stats to prove you wrong. Okay. I just don't have them with me.
And he loves stats.
He's
a numbers guy.
At this point.
Scoop up a client over here. What the heck?
Excuse me?
You may scoop up a client.
What do you think I'm doing here?
Yes, I know what you're doing. ABC over here. He's always
playing
No.
Devil's advocate.
Playing me against Quentin, though, right? You always have Quentin.
Whoa. Time out. I do need to ask you a very personal question.
I think Quentin is watching.
Who won the game on Saturday?
Oh, we actually did. We did not end up playing poker on Saturday. Quentin was super tired. And
game night was at QB's house?
No. We've been playing poker virtually. We're getting ready to start playing in person. Hey, does that mean you want in on it, Keith and Jerry? We get you guys in our poker game.
I'm a gambling man.
I'm dumb, but I ain't stupid. So I'm not going to play with you guys because I'm going to. When I used to play in the core, we were playing for paychecks. So I don't.
Exactly. So, but we're just here to have fun.
Okay,
that's all we're.
Play call Hawthorne, this is a good comment you're going to like. Okay, I've gotten 4 comments in on by Blake Hawthorne on the show.
Thank you.
Well, Blake Hawthorne says, my wife is a realtor out here in Sacramento. A home in Sacramento received 122 offers.
Yeah, it's insane.
80 plus of those were all cash. There's no inventory here in Sacramento. The prices are skyrocketing and the rents are going through the roof. It's a cycle that cannot continue. The moratorium on new building has been stagnant for 15 plus years, and now we're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
That's literally like us.
Yeah. So our number's a little less, but the issue is the same. I mean, I saw something on Facebook this weekend, and I can't remember who it was. There's people waiting online for days in front of open houses before they get in, like you would do to go to a concert, or Star Wars would come out
outside open houses. To be the first to
but I really like to dig into this. I know we're running tight on time here, but to really dig into this, because I'll run the numbers for you, and we'll do it live. But the reason I brought out,
Good idea.
Thank you. The reason I brought out the birth, you're having children later. Yona and I had children in our 20s. We bought our first house in our 20s.
When did you have your second one?
Yeah, but let's not.
It was later on.
Let's not.
It was later on.
Miller, let's not get the facts involved with the story, okay? We were in our early 30s for daughter number 2.
It was 8 years in between.
There was 8 years between that. But I guess my point I'm trying to make is back in the 80s, it was normal, right? You had children a little bit earlier.
Sure.
You got into it. This time, folks are waiting a little bit longer to have children. But this pot and I'll prove the numbers to you. This pot of buyers is double the size of my baby boomer. So It is huge. The only pivot I would say, Lee, brother, the mortgage payment you're paying once a month, you're paying somebody else's kid to go to college. You're paying somebody else's.
Well, and here's an interesting thing, misconception that has to be kind of debunked. And he's done a good job of debunking this misconception. You don't need the 20% down to buy homes anymore.
No, but.
And that was something that was drilled into me.
I mean, I have a VA loan waiting. I'm starting to tell my wife. I mean.
Yeah, he's got a VA loan right there. He's got the best kind of financing right there. Yeah, and and Scott Morris does too.
Yeah. The pivot though now, this is all about negotiating. So though you only need 0 from a VA or 3 or 7, now it becomes you're competing against 120 something people out in California. You're competing against 12 or 15 people, and what we're starting to see from the buyer's perspective, I just don't want to deal with this stuff. Right. But Lee, I'm going to look at our calendar. I kind of mapped out May. We're going to get you to come in, and we'll do this. We'll get Mrs. Smith to sit over here, so she'll actually get us a little.
Get the smart one in.
Well, 2 smart ones anyway. But keep us out of trouble is what I was trying to.
That's what he meant, Lee. That's what he meant.
Because the 3 of us in an hour or something would get into all kinds of trouble.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we close on this note? Because you and I have a meeting that we got to do.
Mrs. Smith will be here in 5 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. Real talk tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to bring in 2 rock star, and I'll leave the names out until they come in, but we're going to be focusing on what they call the Women Council of Realtors. It was started in 1938, and just to put it in perspective, in 1938, even though a woman could get a real estate license, she couldn't practice real estate. So they actually created this to solve this problem, and it's become this really great program. And what it does is it builds a leadership amongst women. So they don't go out and build houses or anything like that, but it's a leadership thing. And I'm really super excited to bring these 2 rock star ladies in here and talk about real estate. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
10:15 tomorrow.
10:15 tomorrow. Yeah.
Real talk. Presented by Yes Team Realtors, Yes Realty Partners, and Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. Tuesdays and Fridays, 10:15 a.m. here on the I Love CVille Network.
2.
I mean, look at this one.
I know. I was just looking at it.
You were fantastic, Lee Elberson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Keith Smith, fantastic as well. 10:15 tomorrow. Judah Wickhauer, thank you for adapting on the fly, my friend. My name is Jerry Miller, guys. This is the I Love CVille Network and the I Love CVille Show, where we showcase the best of Charlottesville and Central Virginia in long-form content, and we have some fun.
Semper Fi, Marine.
We have some fun. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care. Good job. Good job, Lee.
Thanks.
Good job, you too, KS.
Keith's always rocking. Keith, what have you been up to, man? What have you been doing for fun?